welcome back, Geek fans. It's time for another spoiler review at Geeks of the Movies, and today we are spoilery reviewing Suicide Squad. From director David Ayer, Suicide Squad is a story of a bunch of bad guys teaming up to take on the Enchantress. We'll get more about who that is later, but we're going to get right into it. Remember, there's going to be spoilers. I'm Shay Gurich, Jacob Beztels. Jacob, tell me, what are your positives about this movie?
Okay, so my positives are admittedly very few, but the first 20 minutes are a big positive for this movie because it started off strong. I thought you get to know a little bit about Will Smith, a character who's Deadshot, a trained assassin. You know, he can shoot very well. He never misses. And then we get to know more about Harley Quinn, who everyone knows as like the Joker's, you know, kind of
girlfriend.
Punching bag. You know, that sort of thing. But get to know about her backstory, and there's a lot of flashbacks in this movie, which I liked all of those, especially the whole Harley Quinn Joker thing. I love seeing her and Joker's relationship blossom, and how it like turns like very quickly into, you know, just
very quickly.
Just he's just like I need a machine gun, and then she gets in one, and then him and his people just, you know, they totally just shoot up Arkham Asylum. He turns her into Harley Quinn. And then, you know, the story goes on from there, as we know. And we get to see, in both scenes from Will Smith and Harley Quinn, we get to see Batman in there. And I really like seeing Ben Affleck there as Batman. But those are pretty much the whole first 20 minutes, and those were my biggest positive, I think.
So you like that kind of zany kind of style introduction where
Yes.
they're using a different kind of soundtrack for each character, and they have the print on the screen.
Yes.
Okay. I also like that. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it introduced the movie, it got you going, because I'm not a fan of these characters. I'll say that right away, and I realized even more after the movie was done that these characters aren't interesting to me. That
Yes.
I don't really care much about them. With the exception of Harley Quinn is the only one I really had any interest in, because I remember her from the Batman anime series when I was younger. So I was pleased to see her introduction, and I went, I know who you are. This is great.
Yeah.
The only other character I really knew was Deadshot, because he appeared in Arrow before, but it didn't interest me. But it was quick, it was fast, it was to the point, and it got you right to the story, and you understood what was happening. Like Amanda Waller is gathering this team to fight, you know, other threats. There's a few weird aspects about this. For example, they often refer to the team as a team of metahumans, or like these like amazing people that can stop, like, what happens if there's an evil Superman? I'm not really sure this is the team that was going to stop evil Superman. I don't know.
Especially because there's only 2 metahumans in the entire team.
Yeah, it's very bizarre how they keep saying that. I mean, yeah, sure, Will Smith, he can shoot well. I mean, Margo Robbie is Harley Quinn. I'm not really sure what she does. There's a guy with boomerangs.
Yes, the guy with boomerangs is going to stop Superman.
But regardless, I'm not thinking about that point there. I'm invested in the story. They throw a couple other characters in there, but it's fine. Everything is going well, and then we start to get into the city, and this is where things start to slowly. And I felt myself. It was a slow decline. Like when I was watching this movie, I was still into it. I was probably into it maybe the first half an hour, even up to the first fight scene where we're introduced to these strange villains. They're minions of the Enchantress, who, getting back to what I was talking about earlier, she was a member of the team, but then she goes rogue, and that's really what the story ends up being about. Then they have another mission that they talk about in the story, which ends up being having to save Amanda Waller, which is a little weird. But the core story is the Enchantress is this. Destroy the world, take the world over, open weird portals to the sky like we've seen
in every single superhero movie.
There's so many times you've seen this with the debris. I mean, but let's get over that. Now, as we got into the city, where do you feel like you started to go, wait, I'm not sure, where did it start falling apart for you?
Well, for me, it didn't start falling apart, but I started getting a little bit annoyed, honestly. Like when they started, you know, bringing them all together, and like when started bringing them outside of the prison.
Yep.
I started to get annoyed by the characters, like Will Smith's Deadshot. It's like, okay, he's Will Smith.
Yes.
It's not Deadshot. He's just playing Will Smith, and he was kind of an asshole. I get that they're villains and they're bad people, but we're supposed to be rooting for them.
Yeah.
And they made all of them so unlikable. I really didn't like that, and it started there, and then it continued. But once I got into the city, I was like, all right, it's our first awesome action scene, and it wasn't that great. It was just, the only good part about it was Will Smith standing on top of that car, going ham, just shooting all those zombies. But then everything else was just really lame. Captain Boomerang throws one of his 2 boomerangs throughout the entire film, and then he's using them as knives, and Harley Quinn's using a bat. But these like weird zombie things, they were just cannon fodder.
Yes.
That's all they were. They were just there for them to show off their powers, but they didn't even do that very well.
Right, and at first I kind of bought into the scene because I'm like, oh, it's the first fight. Whatever. They're going to fight some people to show off their powers. But that's when it really started hitting me. I mean, I already knew it was ridiculous to have a character like a Harley Quinn on the team. What exactly does she add? Yeah. Or the Boomerang guy, what does he add?
The only person who I thought that didn't have any powers I thought added something was Katana, but didn't show her at all doing anything in this movie.
But she didn't have any powers, but she had a magic sword.
Yes. Yeah.
So she had something at least. I mean, the Boomerang guy literally just had boomerangs, and Harley Quinn had a bat, I think, and a gun.
Yeah.
And the thing with Harley Quinn is, I actually thought Margo Robbie's performance was good. It was a good Harley Quinn, but her character it didn't make sense in the setting. It was jarring. Like, why are you here?
And I get that they're also not particularly trying to save these people. Why didn't they give her any like armor or anything?
She's wearing the hot pants throughout. Yeah. It's very silly, and this is standard for a superhero affairs where there's a team up. Yeah. Whenever there's a team up, they always kind of even their powers out, and everyone can contribute. I mean, even in Captain America: Civil War, you see like a character as powerful as Vision and a character as weak as Hawkeye, but they all have their moments in like the big airplane fight scene. And sometimes it's strategic. Like, you don't see Vision too much in that fight scene. He's kind of in the background because he's so powerful. What are you going to do? But they find ways to integrate him. Here, though, it's just laughable when you see Captain Boomerang doing this, and it's like, really? He's on the same team as the fire guy, Diablo, who can just kill like dozens of guys at once.
And if they had given more screen time to Captain Boomerang, he easily, I think, could have become one of the most likable characters in the movie, just because he's kind of the comedy relief guy.
Yeah, he did that role well, but it's just his purpose there. There's no purpose.
Yes, exactly. I like the whole thing with his pink unicorn thing, but
it's fetish.
But they didn't delve deep enough into his character. They gave I think a lot of screen time to the wrong characters. I thought, because him. And I think also Katana should have had a lot more screen time in this movie, but they had close to none.
I have no affection for those characters, so that didn't bother me. And
I don't really have that much. I don't really know about either of those characters, but I think they both could have added something to the film.
None of these characters ever really appealed to me. I've heard people saying they like the Will Smith as Deadshot. I've heard a lot of that, and to me, it's just it falls flat. It's not that it's so much that it's bad, as that I'm just not invested. Yeah. So throughout all this movie, while they continue to fight these, that's the problem with the it's not this one zombie fight. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's all zombie fight till the very end, and we'll get that in a moment. So I'm never personally invested. The characters are just kind of meh. Let's get on to a little further into the movie. Let's talk about Joker. I thought the Joker was have a much bigger role in the film.
That's how they marketed it.
Right. He did not have a major role in the film, and
it was mostly flashbacks.
It was mostly flashbacks. I felt like they could have rearranged the film to have a lot more Joker. Just change. I think he should have been maybe the main villain.
Yeah, that's
because these characters are teaming up to fight Enchantress, who just she's a god. She's the Justice League should be fighting her. Superman, somebody.
Yes. But that's what I wanted to say about Enchantress, that she was the wrong villain for this movie, because like we said, there's only 2 metahumans. Only one of them has really like powers, and that's El Diablo. But she was definitely the wrong villain for this movie. It should have been. I know this movie was already really contained, but it still should have been a smaller story, I thought. Like them fighting in like 1 or 2 buildings, something like that. A lot like the Assault on Arkham animated movie. It was just 1 building.
It needed to be just smaller scale.
Yes.
Why do they have to go to the Save the World thing?
I know.
Why? Don't do that. Don't go to the Save the World thing. I remember when we saw Ant-Man, and they didn't go to the Save the World thing.
Yes. It was in the background, but it wasn't in the forefront.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long game. If it was what
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
in the background, the forefront was just this one guy causing problems. That yes, eventually he might have gone somewhere with his
Yeah.
creations, but they need a smaller scale story. It doesn't always have to be, oh my God, weird portal in the sky,
Yes.
end of the world. Let's not
Yes.
do that.
Yeah, that was another thing, was the story of this movie. It just wasn't the fit for a Suicide Squad movie.
Right. No.
Yeah.
But before you saw Joker, did you like him?
I liked him. He was fine, but he didn't really have that much to do in the movie. That was my main issue there. He was just kind of there to be the Joker. Jared Leto did fine in his role, but there wasn't like that one scene where it was like, oh my God, like he's doing an amazing job as the Joker. So I liked him, but he wasn't great.
I felt that he was fine,
Yeah.
but that so many scenes seemed truncated. Like, it seemed obvious, like, oh, that scene obviously started earlier
Mm-hmm.
or ended later, and so you can never, there's not enough breathing room for him.
Yes.
And there were some scenes that are just flat out cut that you see in the trailer, like, where is that scene here?
Yes.
So I would like to have seen more Joker. I also would like to have seen more Batman.
Yes.
The scenes I saw, again, very few scenes of Batman.
Yes.
I was hoping for a little more.
Yes, that was one thing. Going back to the positives, I really liked the whole car chase scene with Batman.
Yeah.
But it was so short.
Yeah.
It was painfully short. I thought, because I actually wanted to see just a tiny bit of interaction between Batman and Joker.
Yes.
I wanted to see.
There was no interaction.
Yes. And then we get the part where the car goes into the water, and there was that one funny part where Batman just punches Harley Quinn in the face once, and
Knocks you out. He knows how to knock people out.
Yes. So and that's another thing about negatives. But I want to say in the positive, back in the positive for the moment. The jokes were okay, but not a lot of them hit. That was the negative there. But there were a few jokes in scenes that I liked that worked. And then the Flash scene was great.
The Flash scene was great. Again,
Yes.
it was like 10 seconds, but
Yeah.
it was fine. I liked
Yes,
it. He talked.
yeah,
it was excellent.
Yes.
His look is good.
Yes. And so that's another thing. There's a lot of style in this movie, but no substance really.
Yeah, no, I never felt invested. And then let's get to the end of the movie where, for me, it had its high and low point. Unfortunately, the high came first. Right. So suddenly, this character, El Diablo.
Yes.
He can not only shoot fire out of his hands, he can turn into like a freaking Aztec fire
Yes.
god of some kind.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening right
Yeah,
now?
I
This
know.
is ridiculously awesome.
Yes, it was great.
And for a brief moment, it turned into a proper comic book hero movie with these two giant, like Egyptian god versus Aztec god duking it out. I thought the special effects were not the best. It was a little too CG and like a little too bright, but I don't care. I'm into it. I'm into it. And then the brother's killed of Enchantress, and then Enchantress continues to do her dancing, which is so bizarre. Cara Delevingne, I don't know what she was trying to go for in this role. Her line delivery was weak.
She had two roles in this movie as June Moon and the Enchantress, and she didn't really have that much to do with either.
No,
because when she was June Moon, she was just in the corner crying the whole time, and then she's the Enchantress. She's doing this weird dance move thing, and it just didn't work at all.
God.
Yeah, that whole ending fight scene. After El Diablo turns into the fire god and starts fist fighting it out, after he died, it just got even worse.
Because then Enchantress, who throughout the film has been shown to have weird mind control abilities.
She can teleport anywhere.
Teleport anywhere. Suddenly at the very end, she's like, I got some swords or something, and I'm gonna go at it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the Doctor Doom turn in Fantastic Four. I mean, they Fantastic Four'd it.
Yes.
Doctor Doom has all these cool powers, it seems at first, but you're not really sure what he can do. And at the end, let's duke it out.
Yes. It wasn't as bad, but it was still pretty bad.
I don't know. I thought it was terrible. It was embarrassing.
They're all going at her one-on-one.
And the other guys in the background like doing this, and then they start doing the slow motion. So right at the very end, they make it super dramatic with the slow motion. Here's the gun. My God. Here's this. Oh no.
Yes, that was so bad. And the worst part was, and didn't make any sense at all, when Will Smith is about to shoot her, and then he sees his daughter there, and she's like, "Don't shoot the gun." Why? It's gonna save the world. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, when I saw that, my mouth was agape. I was just like, what? It doesn't make any sense. This was the exact wrong place to put that.
And why didn't she just use those powers throughout the fight?
I know.
To try to. It was a hot mess.
Yes.
And then Harley Quinn, it was so telegraphed. They even screwed up with the editing because they show at one point that there's going to be the sword on the ground. So it was a hot mess. I did not care for it. Before we give our scores, you wanted to talk a bit about the post-credit scene?
Yes, the post-credit
mid-credit scene.
Yeah, mid-credit scene. It was the first time we've seen that in a DCEU movie.
Ooh.
And at first I was like, oh cool, it's another scene with Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Ben Affleck as
Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Bruce Wayne talking to Amanda Waller, who I forgot to mention. Amanda Waller was another positive in this movie. I really liked her.
You're right. She was a positive, but she was a positive kind of in the same way that Margo Robbie was a good Harley Quinn.
Yes.
It's just she got shoved in this bad movie,
yes.
and sometimes she had bad dialogue or weird motivations. But her acting was spot on.
Yeah. She was the main villain of the movie.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. I really liked how ruthless she was. But then going back to the scene, it was I really didn't like it. I thought it even made the movie worse.
Really?
Because Bruce Wayne literally tells the audience to forget about the Suicide Squad. He tells that to Amanda Waller. He's like, forget about this shitty movie that you just were in, and now we're going to focus on Justice League. The big boys are going to come out to play, and I get why they wanted to do that, but at the same time, they just told everyone to forget about this horrible movie.
You know, that's kind of like in an X-Men Apocalypse, where they make a joke about, the third one's always the worst. It was supposed to be making fun of the first trilogy, but really it ended up making fun of itself. This happened here. I'm sure that wasn't intentional, but...
Yeah, and I didn't need more setup for the Justice League either. We got plenty of that in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. We got plenty, and also, I know they couldn't plan for this, but we just saw the first trailer for Justice League too. So
they could plan it. They could just get rid of the mid-credit scene. They shot it already.
So I've been oversaturated in all this setup for Justice League.
So much setup.
So I didn't need that scene either. And so for me, this movie had a lot of fan service, especially in that one really quick scene where you see Margo Robbie in her Harley Quinn's classic outfit, with Joker in the suit. That was a cover from this really famous comic book about Harley Quinn and the Joker. So I really like seeing that, and other things like the Flash scene and Batman in this movie. So, but all it was fan service. It didn't really fit that well in the movie. So,
if you weren't a fan, I'm not a fan of these characters. I just was not invested.
Yes.
But let's cut to the chase. What are you giving a score?
Okay, so there was definitely more negatives than positives in this movie. The fight scenes weren't they weren't engaging. Neither were the characters. I didn't care about any of them. The ending was god awful. So overall, I'm going to give this movie I've been struggling with this for a while now. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. That is going to actually be even with my review because I gave a 5-star scale. I'm giving it 2 stars.
Okay.
2 stars. I thought about giving it 1 star, but it wasn't as hot of a mess as Fantastic Four. Yeah. Even though I think the ending was probably about as bad. To me it was, but the rest of the movie was slightly more engaging. Like Fantastic Four, I was kind of bored right from the start. Where here, the first 20 minutes were kind of good, and then there's a couple scenes I really liked.
Yes. There's
the Batman scenes.
Yeah. There's another scene, one scene that I thought was probably the best scene in the movie was the bar scene, because the characters were actually acting like normal people.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
I really liked that scene. I thought the humor worked with Killer Croc. Beautiful.
To me, at that point in the movie, I was really bored, and now there's a slow scene where it's like, get to the point, because we were nearing the end.
Yeah.
Right. To me, that scene, and maybe it should have been put much for earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And then right after that scene, you hear El Diablo's saying, "Oh, you're my family," and I'm like, I don't buy that.
Yeah.
You had a conversation on your family.
Yeah.
I know what happened in the story, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. You're giving it 4 out of 10. We'll tell you not to see it, but you're going to see it or not, whether you want to or not.
Yeah, I would say don't waste your money on the movie.
Yeah, if you're a hardcore DC fan, you're going to have to consume everything because it's part of a wider universe.
Like me.
Right. And the movie did open big. If the movie does make money, DC is going to keep it around, like they're going to keep the idea around. If it doesn't make a lot of money, it's probably not going to be mentioned too much in previous movies and won't matter as much. It'll be like the first Hulk movie, the MCU, where they don't really make too many references to it.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. This has been the Suicide Squad spoiler review. I'm Shane Gertrude, this is Jacob Destels, and we've been Geeks of the Movies.